How's it going, y'all? Welcome in to another episode of Nasty Bunch and Beyond. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I'm doing this one solo today. It's been the first time I've hopped on here since did the season preview, baseball season preview with my guy Jason Baker. But I'm about to hit the road, about to head to Round Rock, Texas for the Round Rock Classic. And I just wanted to hop on here and just kind of briefly recap everything that has gone on since our last episode last week. So uh, appreciate all the support. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms, especially on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you guys would go over there, take a few minutes. If you like these episodes that we put out every week, be sure to go leave us a rating there and a review. It really helps us out. Really appreciate it. So also, I'm sure if you follow me on X, again, that's at Dalton_Trigg. You've probably seen it by now, and I've mentioned it on the pod before, but I am the publisher and managing editor for Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI now. So be sure to head over there, follow me, and I post the links to all these different game recaps and other stories. And so if podcasts aren't really your thing, if you don't keep up with that regularly, and you would rather, have some Southern Miss reading material, I know there's a lot of good outlets out there, but I'm kind of throwing my hat into the ring now. So again, that's Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI. You can follow me, and I'll be posting those links, or you can just search the site on Google, and we'll pop up. So really appreciate it. So okay, so the baseball team, they got off to a great start. One thing I talked about with Jason Baker last week, we kind of both agreed, and we kind of agreed on our staff roundtable we did for the website with my guy Drew Johnson and Charlie Lanehart, who is at Southern right now. So we all kind of agreed. We thought the Golden Eagles would win the series, but we figured it might be a struggle when it came to hitting. Well, first game of the series against UC Santa Barbara, that was definitely the case. Their starting pitcher in that first game, Jackson Flora, he very well might be the number one overall pick in the MLB draft in this next draft. He is that good. He hit triple digits several times on the on the pitch speed meter. He was incredible, unreal performance from him. And, didn't give up any runs in that first game. When he came out of the game, Southern was able to get one run, but ended up losing that first game 5-1. And then in the second game, kind of got in the hole there too. They were down 6-2. Things were not looking good at all. And then all of a sudden, Pete Taylor magic hit, and able to come back and win that game 8-6. It was incredible. Two massive 2-run home runs in that game by Ty Long and Joey Urban. And it was just great to see. So come back, tie the series, force a rubber match on Sunday at the Pete. And it was everything you could have possibly imagined for a winner-take-all game, especially in an opening weekend series. Like, it was surreal. Like, there was so much hype around Southern Miss and UC Santa Barbara coming into the season for that first series. And not only did it live up to the hype, I thought it exceeded it. And it was hyped up a lot. So that's saying something. But that final game, it was a back-and-forth affair, like like the other game was. Again, Southern down early. They were down 2-1 at one point, and then went up 4-2, and then UC Santa Barbara hit a 2-run shot later in the game to tie it at 4. Dre Barrett comes back in the bottom of the 8th inning, hits a solo shot into right field, the 16-ounce lounge, and the Roost just going nuts because he gave the Golden Eagles the 5-4 lead there in the bottom of the 8th, and everyone's thinking, okay, 3 more outs, and this thing is done. You don't even have to go to the bottom of the ninth. And then, they brought Camden Clark in there, who's been unreal as a closer so far this year as a sophomore, pitching in the mid 90s and just closing the door on everybody he faces so far. They brought him in, got 2 outs. On the 3rd out, it was going to be, a pop out, infield pop out to Ty Long. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the lights, if he just mishandled it, whatever the case was, he dropped that final out. And UC Santa Barbara, they took advantage of it. They ended up getting a triple soon after that, which scored the tying run. Camden Clark was able to get the Golden Eagles out of that without losing the lead. So it was tied, but they didn't lose the lead. Go to the bottom of the ninth, tied at 5. Ty Long, he ended up getting a little bit of redemption because, already had one guy on base, and then Ty Long came in and he was acting like he was going to bunt. I believe he was in a 0-2 count, if I remember correctly, trying to bunt, and he stuck with it, got a full count, ended up getting walked. So he showed incredible poise there and kind of got a little bit of, redemption, not scoring the game-winning run or anything, but just getting on base in that situation and putting the pressure on the UC Santa Barbara pitcher. I thought that was huge for him, and it showed some resolve and, how he was able to forget about what happened the previous inning and just keep on keeping on. And that's what Coach Oz is preaching to these guys every day. And so that was good to see. So with 2 men on and Joey Urban coming up to the plate, the UC Santa Barbara coach, he decides to walk Joey Urban, which, under normal circumstances, you would think, okay, well, he's hitting nearly 500. Well, now he is hitting over 500 as batting average. At the time, it was 455. And so it's like, okay, well, I get that. The only problem is that loaded the bases for Matthew Russo. And it led to what was arguably Russo's easiest, not arguably, it was his easiest walk-off ever. He had a walk-off last year against Arkansas State, I believe, with a home run. But, he ended up getting a 4-pitch walk with the bases loaded, which brought Seth Smith, who was in as a pinch runner for Tucker Stockman, and he crossed the plate, and that was it. The Eagles win series 6-5. Incredible opening weekend series. Couldn't have gone any better. Record attendance at the Pete for opening weekend, a total of over 16,000 people. So, about an average of 5,500 or so each day, which is crazy because, the official attendance for the Pete, they list as 4,300, and that's supposed to include the Roost and the 16-ounce lounge area. So that was great to see. Overall, fantastic weekend. Lots of drama, lots of action, and, good guys come out on top, and they kept their high ranking, in the top 20. And one of the rankings, I forgot which one it was, but one of the rankings have them up to number 18 now. But D1 and some other ones, they still have them in that 20 range. So after all that emotion, after all that drama, getting a great win over a great program in UC Santa Barbara that, made the College World Series back in 2016. And again, one of the best pitching staffs that Southern will probably see all year. Great win, but you kind of wondered, okay, well, how are they going to take that into this next game? Because, it was a great emotional, high quality series win at home, and then you turn around and you go to Southeastern Louisiana on the road, a team that hadn't won a game yet, and you kind of wondered, well, are they going to kind of overlook this team and take their foot off the gas? And look, that was a tough game too. For 9 whole innings, it it was neck and neck. Went into the top of the ninth, tied at 1, and ended up getting a couple of massive hits from Joey Urban and Matthew Russo, and Davis Gillespie had a home run in that game that kind of got the scoring started for both teams. It was 0-0 more than halfway through that game, and Gillespie hit a solo bomb over center field, and Golden Eagles ended up winning that one 3-1, but it was close. It was anybody's game there going into the ninth inning, but it was good to see, despite it being sloppy, despite it being a ugly win, at least it was an ugly win and not an ugly loss. And even with the bats not doing as much as what they probably would have hoped for their first road game, the pitching was outstanding. There were 8 Golden Eagle pitchers total that appeared in that game at Southeastern Louisiana. Dylan Causey got another shot at it. He's had 2 appearances now, and he's been absolutely nails both times. You had lots of good stuff from your starter and Camden Sundstrom, sophomore Baton Rouge native. So he got the start in his home state and did a pretty good job through 3 innings, kept the Lions scoreless. And then, Camden Clark, he came in there and closed good. But man, like I said, Dylan Causey from Ellisville, I went to South Jones. He's really impressed me so far. He does not look like a freshman out there. And, there's been some other ones. Sam Mitchell, he is a right-handed freshman pitcher from Baton Rouge, just like Sundstrom was last year. He was great in his limited action in that Southeastern Louisiana series. Got multiple punch-outs. Teague Broadhead, he showed some good flashes in that game. Overall, there were 8 pitchers total that saw action for Southern in that game against Southeastern Louisiana. But I'm really impressed with, what we've seen from these younger arms. And Coach Oz even said it in his recent media availability, like, yes, he's been impressed too, but not surprised. Like he kind of figured this is how it was going to go this year because, they've recruited so well, and these guys just seem to have it from day one. He thinks that having all that competition in his bullpen is only going to galvanize the bullpen altogether over the course of the year because of that competition. They're going to make each other better. So overall, couldn't really ask for more throughout these first 4 games, especially considering, I know people can say, well, he could have won that first one, but if you haven't watched Jackson Flora in person, you just wouldn't understand what they were going through. Because to have to face that guy who again, he very well might end up being the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft, to face that guy in your first game of the entire season, having to try and knock off the rust and to get in the groove and everything, and you're going against that dude, that's tough. So all things considered, 3-1 start, great start, still ranked, and now heading to Round Rock, Texas, where have some high-quality competition that's going to be going on. So you got the first game, Southern's going to be playing Friday against Purdue. They're 2-2. They just dropped a game to Rice last night, 5-2. And then you got Oregon State, who's nationally ranked. So they're number 11 in the latest rankings. Some of the rankings have them as high as 7th, but the D1 rankings have them at 11th. Southern Miss will play them on Saturday. And then Sunday, Golden Eagles will play Baylor. And Baylor is not ranked, but they're 4-0 so far this season. They haven't played, stiff competition by any means, but those dudes can hit the ball. So, I know the competition they've faced isn't the best of the best, but I think they played New Mexico State in their first series, won it 3-0. One of those games, Uh, one player individually had 3 grand slams by himself in that game. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of firepower is there. And we'll see. We'll see how how that batting lineup does against a Golden Eagles pitching staff that has a lot of depth to it, has a lot of talent, and I think is going to be probably the best between them and maybe Oregon State, probably the best pitching staffs they've faced yet this season. So we'll see how it goes. One thing I'm looking forward to, a couple things I'm looking forward to at Round Rock. Obviously, the bats need to come alive and stay alive. I mentioned Joey Urban earlier. He has been absolutely scorching to start this season. His batting average is up to 538. So 0.538, just scorching. His slugging percentage is 0.769. He's got 3 RBIs, 1 home run. In that Southeastern Louisiana game, he was 2 for 2 at the plate. He got walked the 3 other times he was at the plate. So these teams are scared to pitch to him. He is very much the guy, whether he's the designated hitter or he's playing as the outfielder, center fielder. Joey Urban is very much a force. He is that guy this year. And, I'll be looking to see what he does this weekend when the lights are the brightest, so to speak, because this is going to be a regional type feel, postseason type feel to it, high level competition, one of the more prestigious in-season tournaments you could get invited to. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to Joey Urban, see if he can continue his hot batting. I would like to see Matthew Russo continue his momentum. Toward the end of that UC Santa Barbara series, he started to pick it up a little bit, and then he had a really clutch hit that added that insurance run against Southeastern Louisiana on Tuesday night to make it 3-1 instead of 2-1. And so I kind of feel like he's due for like a big breakout game, and I'm hoping that happens throughout the course of this weekend. But there's a lot of guys that, I think right now their batting averages don't reflect just how talented they are, and I think they could, be in for some big performances this weekend. Like Ben Higdon, he's yet to get it going. Kyle Morrison, he's had some good moments, but overall only 0.125 batting average. Ty Long, he had that 2-run shot in one of those games, but he could break out and have a little bit better batting average as well. And Davis Gillespie, he is kind of like Russo. He's come on a little bit more here as of late. Can he keep that going heading into this weekend? So, and then obviously you have the consistent guys like Tucker Stockman, Dre Barrett, and Caleb Stelly, who they haven't been as hot as Joey Urban, obviously, but they're very respectable when it comes to their batting average, and they're consistent. So, like I said, bats need to come alive. They need to stay alive. That'll be one thing I'm looking forward to. The other thing, though, is the starting pitching. And we've already talked about the bullpen. Coach Oz has been very impressed with his freshmen and his bullpen in general. But I'm looking for a bounce-back weekend from all of the starting pitchers this weekend, because Colby Allen, he just didn't have his best stuff. Now, given it's tough going against a guy like Jackson Flora, like I said earlier, but even if it was anybody else, like Colby just didn't have his best stuff. I'm sure he'd tell you that straight up himself. But he's capable, and it's hard for me to believe. It's hard for me to envision Colby Allen having a second consecutive start where he doesn't go extended innings. Like, ideally you want your starter at least getting you through 7 innings. And that just didn't happen in that first game. And I fully expect a big bounce back from Colby Allen. And the same goes for the rest of the weekend lineup. Graydon Harris in the Saturday spot, he didn't have the type of start that he wanted. And Coach Oz said it, last night yesterday in his media availability following that Southeastern Louisiana win when he got back to Hattiesburg. But he said that all three of the starters, so Colby Allen, Graydon Harris, and McCarty English, they all had great week of practice. And he thinks that every one of them he's eager to see them bounce back. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen once you get up there, but he's confident in them. I'm confident in them. And like I said, especially with Colby Allen, if there is one game I am supremely confident about, going into this weekend, is that first one against Purdue on Friday, because and I may be wrong. I mean, I may look back at this recording and think, man, you you whiffed on that one. But I cannot see Colby Allen having another, modest performance, I guess you'd call it, by his standards. And Coach Oz said it. It's not like those guys were terrible or anything in the first weekend, but the standards are so high for Southern Miss pitching that it fell below those standards. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it. I think we're in for a good weekend. I'm expecting another 2-1 series this weekend, hoping they get greedy and go for 3-0. But, I think all of us would pretty much be happy with a 2-1 Round Rock Classic weekend. I think that would be a very successful weekend and be a good showing on a national stage. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'll be there with my family, and we will be taking in the action, and it'll be a great time. So I will come back on here with my guy DJ. He is out sick, so I'm doing this one solo today, but he'll be back with me next week, and we will recap the Round Rock Classic, as well as some of the other things going on with Southern Miss basketball, men's and women's. But in the meantime, be sure to, again, like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. If you don't mind leaving us a review on there, it only takes about 2 minutes, maybe even not even that, but that really helps us out. So be sure to do that. And again, if you'll go to Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI, you will find game recaps for all of these Round Rock Classic games over the weekend. So if you're having a hard time being able to watch the game, if you just don't want to pay for the extra, I think it's $30 to have access to the streaming stuff to watch the games this weekend. If you're not going to be able to watch and you want to read about what happens, I'm going to have those recaps up the night of every game. So, again, that's Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI, or you can follow me on X at Dalton_Trigg. I'll be posting them on there, as well as the pod account at Nasty Bunch Pod on X as well. So appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and we will see you early next week after we get back from Round Rock. Y'all have a good one.